Recording in progress. All right.
And if we were all in Texas, you wouldn't even have to fucking say that.
All right.
Single party consent, homie.
Hey, yeah, you can.
And you can shoot people.
Yeah, you can drive 80 miles on the freeway, 80 miles an hour on the freeway.
Oh, bro, that's a daily. That's a daily. My spawn haircut and everything. Let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got the fresh cut, bro. I see you.
I keep my line. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit! Oh damn!
Makes me more aerodynamic when I hate. You know.
He's the fastest hater in the world. Hello, you beautiful nerds. I'm Jedi Master Grayson.
And I'm your favorite cousin Bill.
And welcome to Does It
Oh.
The show where we revisit classic genre films to see if they're as good or as bad as we remember. And we may get drunk while we do it. But we can't do it alone because drinking alone is sad. But talking about movies alone is even weirder because why would you do it by yourself? We are joined, as always, by a special guest to help us determine if this film stands the test of time.
Special guest.
We are joined by a frequent guest of Does It Hold Up? Their fellow...
And the Drunk Bantha channel in general.
Yeah, in general. They're just fellow Banthas in their own rights. Right. Welcome to the show, NineNerdYards crew. What's going on?
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, you gotta do Jeff. You gotta invite.
Oh yeah, I guess I should invite you guys individually.
The other person. Yeah.
Just introduce yourselves.
I like the idea of bringing Blake up, but only I speak, and then bringing me up and only Blake speaks. I think let's really get meta about this, guys.
It'll look like a good Hong Kong movie dub. You know what I mean? If we're frequent Banthas, then y'all are frequent nerds on the NineNerdYards channel, and you can catch these guys with us every week, either breaking down The Idol or breaking down Secret Invasion, which is, that's going so great. Like that was such a fun episode. And you know what? Even if everybody out there hates The Idol as much as we do, you will have fun with our episodes because the hate is real. And Terry has many clones. Producer Terry has many clones to hate on this show. So thank y'all so much though for having me on here.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for coming. And the only thing I gotta say about The Idol is Tedros.
Yeah, we keep it very carte blanche over at the NineNerdYards. You guys got to check out the NineNerdYards channel. Links will be in the video description.
If you want to understand any of the jokes probably the next 10 years, you better watch it.
But today we are talking about the 1997 comic book adaptation Spawn, starring Michael Jai White and Martin Sheen is in this movie. And the legend of cinema, Johnny Legs. Charlie Estevez.
At one point in the movie, Martin Sheen looks just like Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. Like,
I think there might be reasons for that.
I need to look into that. You need to do some research on that.
We got the documents to prove they're brothers. We already know this.
What was that movie they did together where they were garbage men?
Was it Working Men? Or
was it Working Men? I don't remember the night. Maybe? Yeah.
I think it was. I don't know if it was Working Men, but I do remember that
I remember it being very 80s and very fantastic.
Yeah, I think it was very 80s in the 90s.
Exactly.
Men at Work.
Men at Work.
Was
1990.
All right, so like right on the precipice.
Right there. So it should have felt like everything that we said. It was
Yeah, we got the Estevez boy's daddy in this movie.
Well, and you know why he's in this movie, right?
No.
The
Oh, please,
grandson.
please tell
For
me.
years, no, not because of his grandson. He wanted to be in a comic book movie for years, and this was like the first time he's like, "Oh, I can do it, I can do it." So
Oh
he did it.
man. Oh
But when he
man.
told his grandson was like crazy excited.
Flipped. Yeah, his grandson
Yeah.
flipped and was like,
Yeah.
"Bro, you got to do this." And
Uh-huh.
I feel like that is always like I think a great part of how we get a lot of great cinema, and a bad part of how we get a lot of bad cinema.
That's
Like Bob Hoskins, right, doing Mario. Like
Oh
he didn't know
right.
anything about it. His kids are like, "Bro, you're gonna do Mario? Bro, do you know anything about Mario?" He's like, "I don't even know what is a Nintendo, bro. I don't even know what we're talking about." So like same I think same instance here with like Martin Sheen, like somebody being like, "Bro, you're gonna do this?" Like, yeah.
and Mark Hamill. His son's the only reason he was in Jane Silent Bob Strike Back and The Machine.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's right. That's
Mhm.
right. The son. I remember that. Yeah.
His son was big fans of Kevin Smith and then of Burt Kreischer. And his son was like, "You have to do these roles." So
Oh,
that's why we
that's
got
awesome.
him.
Shout
Yeah.
out,
That's sweet.
shout out to Kevin Smith though, by the way, and what's his name?
Oh, Mark Bernard.
Mark Bernard. Mark Bernard was giving us some weird looks the other day. Went to go see the podcast live. Yo, he was looking at us the whole time. If you're watching this, Mark Bernard, say hi. Don't be just looking at us just because.
Stop wearing shirts with his face on it that says "I love you," and he'll stop looking weird. You know?
Well, I was shirtless. And I have a tattoo of Mark Bernard here. And that's
No crop
okay.
top, huh? All right.
It's okay. It's right here.
And I'll tell you what, I don't get what his problem is.
I was wearing a T-shirt, but it said Randy Jackson is the best of the Jackson 5. That's all.
You said Martin Sheen's grandson was the reason that he got involved in this.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me. I just felt like that was interesting, little nerd note, because it has to be it has to be Charlie and Emilio's older brother, who is best friends with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They all went to high school together.
Oh.
That makes so much of the 80s make so much more sense.
Right.
Right.
It's disappointing. It's disappointing because Martin Sheen is one of my favorite actors, like of all time. He's great on The West Wing, and it sucks that he loves he wants to be in comic book movies so bad, and he was in 2 bad ones.
2 of them.
Who was he in
Uncle Ben in the bad?
Oh, that's right. He's Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben and Spider-Man's.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Bad Spider.
I like that one.
Bad Spider-Man.
I like
That's the bad Spider-Man
backing up Bill.
movie.
It wasn't a bad Spider-Man movie.
Okay,
I'm backing up
sure.
Bill on this one.
We're not gonna. We don't
sit here.
We don't have enough time to talk about
That's a
Amazing
different-
Spider-Man.
Check us out next week on Does It Hold Up with the Amazing Spider-Man.
You know where that one's coming.
But I will say that the reason we're talking about Spawn today is because this was we put a poll up on the YouTube channel and let the fans decide, and you guys had to hear us talk about 1997 Spawn. So I'm.
What did this win out over?
This won out over what was, I think it was Surf Ninjas. Here, I'm gonna go to.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, baby! Oh no!
Dude, I voted twice for Surf Ninjas. I was fucking stuffing the ballots and shit. I couldn't get it over the hump.
It beat this?
It beat right.
It's like
I'm
I'll
so fucking glad that you have that in possession, like you right next to you where you could.
Okay, I can get the Phantom because I mean I saw that also in theaters at the same theater that I saw Spawn in. That's a story we'll probably get into. But I also knew not a whole lot. Masters of the Universe. I mean, it's like yes but no. And then
I love all these, but I would have gone Surf Ninjas #1.
Exactly. I'm the same way. I was a Surf Ninjas dude. I voted. Right? 14% is probably all me. But yeah, for the people who are listening, because some people will listen
you can see,
as well. So y'all can't see that this is Spawn. For Surf Ninjas, Masters of the Universe, and the Phantom, Spawn got 57%, Surf Ninjas 14%, Masters of the Universe 10%. and the Phantom got 19%. I don't know if that's actually good
That's
math to make 100, but
Yeah, I'm surprised that I was surprised that Surf Ninjas came in third.
Yeah.
But yes, the Spawn won pretty overwhelmingly.
you guys run this channel, not us. And, this is proof.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make sure you follow the polls, subscribe so you don't miss out, and you can vote on your next episode.
Absolutely.
Now, let's get into the nitty gritty.
The nitty and the gritty. Let's go around the room. Blake, do you remember how you felt the first time you saw Spawn in 1997?
Yes, I was there was a lot of visual stimuli. Came out in 97. So I just turned, because it came out in August of 97. I had just turned 9. And
Nice.
so yeah, I was 9. My stepdad and my
The
mom
Nerd Yard.
take me to, that's right. So shout out to NineNerdYards.
Actually, why is the name?
I was 9 when I figured I was a nerd. But I remember watching this, and we watched it at a theater that's no longer around anymore. It was a Regal Theater off of Riverside in Austin, Texas. For people like that grew up here, they know exactly what I'm talking about. For people that live here now, it's now like a Joy East buffet place or something. I think I've been there once, I don't know, family was having a gathering or something, and I don't usually do those type of places because I get very sick. But I remember watching it there, and I grew up very religious as a kid, so seeing hell scared the shit out of me. And I remember leaving the movie and being like, I want Spawn to be my best friend and defend me from hell. So
Oh yeah,
I was
Catholic.
I grew up Catholic. Yeah, I grew up Catholic. I'm a non-denominational Christian right now, but I just grew up with all that culture. And so experiencing that and seeing that, the visual stimuli was like, I was like, oh my God, like this crazy. And it's Michael J. White. He's doing some martial arts and gun shit. And oh my God. And then seeing hell, I was like, oh. So that's how I felt, like feeling wise.
Right.
I remember enjoying it very much, though. I think to answer your question at the core of it, I remember enjoying it very much as a kid. So,
Okay. I honestly, I think a lot of kids in the 90s had a very similar feeling walking into this movie. Jeff, how did you feel the first time you saw this?
Oh, I loved it. This was one of those ones where it was rated R, so like I wasn't really allowed to see it. So my cousin and we would catch it on HBO late at night and things like that. And this was one of those ones where
amongst
like
other things.
right.
Ooh.
Man, I
I
still
stay up to watch
remember-
some porn, but there's
Yeah, you know
Spawn.
that too.
There's comic books.
But
By the way, I still remember the first rated R movie I watched on HBO late at night that I wasn't supposed to, and it was True Lies, which is an
Ooh.
amazing flick.
Oh wow.
But I remember, like, as a kid, so I was 11 when this came out. So as a kid, I'm growing up on Surf Ninjas, Three Ninjas, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, all that stuff. So this is around the age where you're wanting that darker hero. So I ended up thinking it was the coolest thing to ever come out. And I remember knowing with all my soul, and I'm glad that I was right, that graphics and special effects will never be better than they are now. And that this is the best special effects we'll ever see in our lives.
you know what? Totally holds up that
Mhm.
statement.
What about you, Bill?
I'm gonna save it for the rest of the show.
What about you? How did you feel the first time you saw this movie?
Who?
You, Bill.
Oh,
You.
yeah, well, I felt fucking awesome, man. First of all, this is before Blade, right?
Yes,
yeah.
1 year.
So yeah, 1 year before Blade, first black comic book hero on TV, Michael Jai White. I was like, slap them all, shoot them all. I was like, oh man, Spawn is kind of a bad dude, but I like him because I used to see the cartoon, like I wasn't supposed to, you know what I'm saying? But you right after Oz went off, you can catch you some Spawn, and I wasn't trying to watch Oz as a kid. That was frightening. But I got hooked by the cartoon, and for some reason in my mental, I thought that I just never caught the last episode because I wasn't supposed to be watching it and I just probably just missed it. You know what I'm saying? But the show never really got a last episode. It like ended in like the middle of the second season. So I was amped to see it, and when I saw it, I was hyped. I had all of the, googly eye goggles on. I was the little kid, just happy. So I loved it, yeah, man. And John Leguizamo, one of my favorite actors before this movie.
Yes, all the Leguizamo.
So I was just like pumped to see this movie, like all the way pumped up to see this movie.
Oh yeah,
when I saw it, so yeah, I do.
Yeah, pretty much the same way. Like I don't remember seeing it in theaters. I'm sure we did. But most of my memories was just like watching the movie over and over on VHS. Specifically, like rewatching. I don't know why this scene was like so specifically. I don't know. Stuck in my head. But yeah, like the scene where John Leguizamo is dancing in the cheerleader outfit.
Man, that makes me worried about your current search history on let's say some hub sites.
Yeah, man, you don't want
dancing clowns. That's what it is.
Dressed up like my favorite drag queen, Carte Blanche, just sashaying away. Like for whatever reason, I thought that this scene was hilarious as a kid and watched it too many times. But yeah, I thought this movie was great, though. Like as a kid, like there weren't any like outside of watching it at my uncle's house. Like I wasn't obsessed with this movie, and I think that there's I guess we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about why this movie doesn't really have a cultural imprint. Like why we don't talk about this movie like it's one of the greats.
Well, I think that's because this was
because he's black. Is that why it is?
Wow, I would have thought better of you guys. How dare you?
Wow.
You know what? I don't think I can be a part of this anymore.
I do want to point out that this movie came out the same year as Batman and Robin. So a lot of the fanfare was being pushed towards that. You know what I'm saying? And focus was pushed towards that, towards the not just the media, but people's mental.
Right.
It's Batman.
Yeah.
And it's George Clooney Batman. Oh my God, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
We'll never have a nipple Batman. This Batman will be our Batman for all time.
It is crazy. It's crazy that we got two movies that are like not critically well received. They're comic book movies. They're very, very different.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
And at the time, I definitely felt like this movie was better than Batman and Robin.
Same.
Yeah.
I still think it is. Forget at the time, right now.
Well,
I'll say this: maybe if Spawn had nipples, the movie would.
I mean, he basically did. They just ran out like a little chains, and tried biting people.
Yeah, he had really hot nipples. They were just up here, right?
Don't body shame Spawn.
Just burned alive, your nipples just rise right here, and they just cut up to your chest, your collarbone right here. It's science.
I'm sorry.
I will say, through my IMDb trivia research, this was the second major movie to have a black superhero. We have talked about doing one of the other ones.
Which is
Nope, but this was before Steel.
Meteor
Man.
Meteor Man.
Meteor Man was the first big one before Spawn.
Facts.
Which I love that movie.
Couldn't take Meteor Man serious, but
I still can.
Do love it. I do love it. I mean, Robert Townsend
is great though. But...
Robert Townsend is amazing, but he could never play anything but a father in anything to me because he just looks too wholesome and happy all the time. Like he's just he's a wholesome
Superman.
person.
Yeah. Superman much?
Oh, I hate
Yeah, it is. Since while we are talking about race, like in the comic, there was some 90s movie making racism happening around this movie. Like in the original comic book, the character of Al's best friend, Terry, he was black in the comics. But he was played by a white actor, DB Sweeney, in the movie. And Todd McFarlane explained that this change was made by the studio to avoid having too many black leads, as they believed it would give the false impression that the film was targeted towards an African audience.
Now, let me just say, when we were watching this on the second go round for the show, oh my God, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was the reason, but I definitely said, yo, I bet you they told them, yo, it's too many niggas up in here. And the first table read, and it was just like,
yeah, some studio head was like, "Oh, this movie is a little dark." He's like, "Yeah, it's fun. That's supposed to be." He's like, "No, that's not what I mean."
No.
Different meaning of the word.
or he's just sort of like, yes, that's what I meant, and then he's like, cooperates with all the rest of the other heads of the people, and he's like, listen, this movie's dark and not in a good way. We need to do something about this.
Those producers are just sitting in that first table read like, should we cut today short? Is this maybe not the best day for this?
Just take a quick.
I'm sure Todd McFarlane put that out because he wanted to make sure no one thought it was his choice.
Right. Yeah, Todd McFarlane is one of the bigger well, yes, and he's one of the biggest critics of this movie. He did not like the way it came out. For you guys who don't know, what?
He co-wrote it.
Yeah, I know, right? Like you can't remove yourself from it too much. And I kind of think it's kind of like, I don't know, cheap of someone to shit talk a movie that they were in or they were involved in. It's like,
especially if you're the producer. I swear to God, the producer for what was it, The Island with Ewan McGregor?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that guy famously shit on that movie after the first weekend did terribly, and he shit on it because he shit on the actors, saying that they didn't give their all. It's like, how about dude? This movie just sucked before you signed us on to it.
Right.
How about the producer for American History, or not producer, director for American History X? He tried tanking it before it even came out.
I did hear about that, yeah. And there was like a lot of infighting between him and Edward Norton.
Yeah, it's because
it turns out there's a lot of fighting between everyone and Edward Norton.
He thought it looked bad on the KKK. He wanted to get that shit out of there.
This is not the movie I set out to make.
Little known fact, he had a bit of a say in Al's best friend in this movie.
He had a what?
A little bit of say in the look of Al's best friend in this movie.
Yeah, he was a consultant.
That day.
He's just walking by the room. It's like,
yeah,
what's going on in there?
Yeah, just walks by. Hey, you should change that.
Six.
There's too many black people, and then he just walks away. Like, what?
I got 6 black people doing a table read.
Y'all making the next Friday movie?
This is not barbershop. Somebody walked by and was like, "This is not barbershop. This is personal."
You'll have people in here getting their hair cut.
The critics were split on this, or not the critics, actually. Should say the critics and the audience were pretty split on this, though it doesn't seem like either one of them liked it. It had a 17% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 36% audience rating.
Better on IMDb then.
Roger Ebert seemed to really enjoy this movie. I was reading an article. It was on Wiki, and it was like, Roger Ebert gave us 3.5 stars, or 3.5 out of 4 or something. Like,
no, that's out of 5.
It's out of 5. That's still
but that's still way better than like 13%.
Especially for him, he has shit on some movies. He shit on Hook.
The thing he really called out for this movie, which I think we can all sort of agree on, is at this time in '97, the visual effects, like, while they don't hold up now, there were not other things. Nobody was making capes and doing, besides Jurassic Park, having like some sort of like a reptile monster in your movie, which they used the same team for. So like there was a lot going on visually where you're like, oh, that's interesting. And there had not been really like a dark comic book adaptation of some sort of hero. I think that he was pointing that out. And it said in the article that he spent a lot of the time convincing, who was it? It was
Siskel.
Siskel. He spent a lot of time trying to convince him that the movie was good. So
And I mean, like we kind of glanced over it, but I mean, this is while Meteor Man did come before it, this was the first big name comic book movie with a black star. And I mean, like that was, I think, before Spawn, I think that would have been just unthinkable for so many in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
I think that's a really cool thing.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spawn was actually incredibly popular at the time. Like it's Image Comics, and Todd McFarlane himself like was as much of a rock star as a comic book artist could be. Todd McFarlane was that.
Yeah. Frank Miller.
Yeah.
Like these are the names you associate with that.
And he definitely had a look like he pretty much had the look of comic book 90s style, just like hard edges, a lot of pouches, guns,
a lot of teeth.
I thought you meant actual Todd McFarlane's like actual.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Everybody was trying to look like Todd, you know.
Pouches on pouches.
I'm sorry.
All the pouches.
I obviously don't be thinking straight sometimes.
Well,
I swear I thought you were talking about Todd McFarlane because he is a weird looking dude, but then you started to
yes.
Right.
But
And,
something funny, Todd also co-created Deadpool with Rob Liefeld.
Huh.
And one of the big things about Deadpool was like mercenaries need pockets. So like that's why he's got all the pouches on his belt and shit. Because like where's he gonna keep his fucking ammo? Like that actually was a big thing for them.
I like that ended up translating into every like X-Men that he would draw later.
Yeah.
Like when he started
Like
drawing
like
Spider-Man, like you know what Spider-Man needs? Some fucking pouches.
Pouches.
Oh, Ben Reilly.
Because we were thinking about that. We were just so concentrated on that the whole time. For 60 years in comic books, we was worried about where is he keeping his phone?
Right.
Where does he keep his wallet?
Where does he keep his chapstick though? Yeah, I will say, yeah, like while we're talking about some of the good things about this movie, it was like very ambitious as far as like CGI goes. Like you know, for good and for ill. But there were some moments where like the movie did kind of shine. Like the costume of Spawn, I did actually really dig.
Dope.
Yeah,
dope.
I still love it.
All the dope. Yeah.
Transformation too. Like the CGI does not look bad on this. Not terrible.
It doesn't look terrible right here.
No, not at all.
I think Venom probably looks worse than this.
Agreed. But then later on, you get into Clown transforming into Violator, and it's like, what are you doing? Just use shadows and prosthetics, you know?
Yeah. Like there were moments in the actual fight where it didn't look that bad to me because like again, they were using shadows and they clearly built like a big Violator head or something like that for the fight.
It reminded me a lot of the fight reminded me of the Thing.
Oh, interesting.
The movie The Thing?
Yeah, how that alien looked in it, you know?
Yeah, very
I can
practical. Practical. They had a CGI version of Violator, and they also had they built out Violator. So that way, so when you look at it, you're like, damn, that looks good. That might be the practical and less the CGI. But they have both on hand. And the practical effect, again, they use the people from Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park to make Violator's demon form. So that's why it looks so good.
That's got to be why it looks good at points.
Yeah, that looks great.
They must have ran out of budget somewhere and had to just force.
Like when he's close like that. Oh my god,
that's awesome.
It's great.
Well, even when they had him walking and breaking through that column, he looked awesome. You know,
right?
And you know, also this is 1997, so honestly, this is ambitious AF.
Yeah. And there are other times where their ambition kind of gets in the way of
bring up the hell scene.
Hell.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the scene where
I will point out that they did leave that until the end, towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because they did a great job of like Simmons dies or he's killed, burned to death, exploded. And then he just wakes up as Spawn. Like we just get Spawn. We don't go.
That was kind of cool. Yeah,
I like that, and where it left like more story to tell about.
Agreed.
Without doing a whole like exposition of this character and a whole bunch of terrible dialogue that we have to sit through for the first 15 minutes of the movie.
So much better. Yeah. Also, they actually set White on fire for that.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, he did his own stunt. He did his own stunt.
Damn.
Yeah, we got to bring that.
Okay, well that raises more questions for me actually, because one of the things that one of the first moments where I was like, oh, they're getting really ambitious with the special effects is when they set him on fire and they decide to like superimpose his face on top of like, I guess they just wanted to make sure you knew that it was him.
No, I think that they had the problem.
No, that's him right
So
there.
like, you can even see all the Vaseline on him to keep him from getting hurt.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. They probably had right there.
Yeah, right there is where
right there. Yeah,
right there. Like his face looks like a meme that you make on on Twitter. But I think that's because they probably had so much protection on him. Like
right,
that one scene when he actually falls, like you have to have some kind of gelatin type like protection, coverage over his face. Otherwise, he would have burnt. He would actually look like Spawn.
And I mean, they probably had like a hood going like right around this part of him. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So I completely agree with you there.
That is explained away.
That's a good point.
That's why you just get a stunt man, and then nobody cares if you see his face because we're not gonna show his face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but Michael Jai White, he was that dude back in the day too. He still is. I don't want him to come around the corner and like drop kick me. Oh, I'm not testing you.
His spinning back kick is nasty.
Yeah. It's crazy that like no one should be that talented, like he's a black belt. He studied at Juilliard, and he's a handsome guy. Like it's like, come on, man, leave something for the rest of the universe.
Bodyguard.
Was he really? Oh, damn, that's crazy.
Man, this dude has crazy stories, man. Like
I was about to say, I bet he has so many stories.
That white got so many stories. He got Michael Clark Duncan into Hollywood. He is Dude was laying on his couch. Him and some other guy were roommates, and Mike used to be there all the time. And they were like, dude, you would be perfect in Hollywood. You should go. So they took it. He was like, whatever. They were like, no. So they got him some headshots, got him hooked up with an agent, got him a couple, he got a couple
auditions. Yeah.
That's what's up.
In Friday.
So basically, we all need to hang out with Michael Jai White, and then we can all be in movies.
Well, whatever it is that you're telling
that's what I heard.
Find out he will help get it done. Like he knows everybody. It's crazy.
Yeah,
the thing that drove me the craziest about him and how amazing he is. Like, so okay, he's one of the best martial artists in Hollywood, and they didn't really use it in this movie.
Yeah,
like there's some quick like boxing scenes at most, and then maybe like 2 kicks. But like, man, you've got a fucking badass. Use it.
Yeah,
that is an amazing point. I think it speaks to the fact that you don't have a lot of, even today, you don't have a lot of directors who know how to direct action scenes, fight scenes in general. Like, so a lot of the fight scenes in this movie are just
cut to Alpha.
Yeah.
Just throw a motherfucker over there. And
it's more throws and explosions, not a whole lot of like really good fight scenes. I think that's why so many like
I hate when people do that in movies like superheroes or supervillains. They grab a motherfucker and then they
throw him across the room.
You could have just crushed him in your touch him in the face.
If you have the strength to throw them across the room, you can kill them with your bare hands.
if nothing else, hold on and keep slamming against the floor until he's not moving anymore.
Right.
Be real sure he's dead.
Yeah, it's very bad.
I think we have to take the approach that you take when like maybe peeling a pistachio, right? Like you have to do it with your hands. You can't just throw it against the wall and expect it to open. So I think we have to start, bad guys out there in Hollywood, take the approach of opening some sort of like a walnut or you need your hands.
Be
more
more
against the wall.
Be more practical.
This is not Dragon Ball Z. Just grab a person, throw him, and talk to him for 15 minutes.
But while we are talking about bad guys, let's talk about my man Johnny Legs. Blake, what did you think of Johnny Legs in this movie? As the main villain Violator.
I mean, again, I think we maybe had this discussion on a different podcast, but like I've been a huge John Leguizamo fan since like House of Buggin'. like because I used to watch In Living Color with my mom at night, like on a Saturday if I was up too late or something. And like I just remember, various skits from that. But I remember they did House of Buggin', and I remember John Leguizamo being very funny. So like to see him in like movies or like I remember The Pest came out, but I don't think I saw that until I was a little bit older. But like I'm like, this dude's just a funny Latino guy. Oh my God, he's like me, but he's in Hollywood. To see him though as Violator, it's one of the best parts of the movie. Like regardless of
Mhm.
anybody watching this movie, they love it, hate it, feel indifferent to it. Effects, you're like, hey, I don't know about story. You can't deny John Leguizamo as Violator is like one of the best parts. Like it's funny. It's apparently comic. I've never read the comics, but apparently like very comic book accurate to being, however quippy or the way that Violator talks to Spawn. And yeah, he looked like he was having fun with it, even though
Yeah.
he hated the prosthetics being in there for 2 to 4 hours. So and then
Yeah.
shitting himself one time apparently is what happened.
Yes.
So because they couldn't get him out.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He couldn't get out. A fucking shit
Took
like
an
that.
hour to get everything off, and he didn't make it in time.
Damn.
Ooh, that is.
Which, if
I
you
don't
think
know
about
what
it, just brings some real authenticity to Violator's character.
I was, I was about to ask, what did you think of Violator? But before I ask you that, when was the last time you shat yourself? I'm very curious. Yeah,
It
it
was
was like I was
close.
trying to think of the last time I actually shat myself. It was like it's probably been maybe since I was 10. Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh no,
Yep.
no, it's definitely older than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like 13, 14 years ago. But I got like real close, like a couple months back, to the point where like, oh man, it was dangerous. Like I talked about it on a different podcast to friends, and that was just the entire episode. Was
It's like, oh
my
no,
struggles with eating something bad and holding everything in. So
we weren't going to talk about Joe Biden today, but we're going to just talk about.
Yeah, just because you were kind enough to share that, I will say that I can't remember last time I shat my pants, but I did pee my pants 3 years ago, like right at work, like right when I got to work, and I was just like, "Hey, boss, I ripped my pants. I'm gonna have to go home." They're like, "Okay,
Really?
yeah, that's fine."
They look completely intact, just two different colors. That's interesting.
That's where the rip is. See, you looking too hard. You gotta look. You gotta like relax your eyes. To see the rip.
Oh no, I had to create the evidence. I was like, I saw the big piss stain, and I was like, "Rip."
I will say the good news with my situation was it was definitely I ate something that fucked with my stomach. It wasn't just I couldn't get out of my pants fast enough.
Yeah.
like Leguizamo had going on.
I'm assuming that's what happened with John Leguizamo too, because I don't know if I've been able to hold my shit for hours. Like, he must have had like a questionable something at the craft table,
bad
right?
Craft services thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also really thought Johnny Legs was really good in this. The best part. Bill, what did you?
Pants last week.
So.
Oh, you mean what did I think about? Violator?
Yeah.
Violator was dope. Yeah, he's like one of my favorite parts of the movie. Let me tell you this stuff. John Leguizamo. Since I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, y'all already said all the good things you can say. But John Leguizamo, I'm gonna put it out there. I was thinking about it. Best Latin actor of all time. I think I'll put him at best Latin actor of all time.
I'll throw him up there because he can really do everything, even though he didn't hasn't really gotten a fair shake. Like he definitely has the chops to be a leading actor.
Motherfucker was Mercutio.
We do know Raul Julio was a Latin actor, right? Like or Antonio Banderas, right? Like we're aware of these.
Than Antonio Banderas.
Oh,
But
baby.
Antonio, well, Blake, think about it this way. Antonio's not still going, Leguizamo is.
No, he is. He's Puss in Boots. You need to calm your tits.
Okay, I don't think voice acting is on the same level. I think voice actors are still amazing, but
I'll give you that Antonio
great.
Banderas is a great actor. But this is where I trumpet with it. I don't think he could do anything that Leguizamo can do. Like John Leguizamo could do everything that Antonio Banderas can do.
He
But
could
he
not
can't
do.
do- he can't
No,
do-
he couldn't do Desperado. You're kidding me.
Oh, I think
You know what? I would
I
probably.
think
he did
Leguizamo now,
Empire.
though.
Have you ever seen Empire?
Empire was a fun movie. Empire was a fun movie, but like that's not not Desperado. That's not Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Stole his drugs or something.
You,
I will say, they both
he's
do have their own.
Mercutio.
Right. I
He
remember
could
that.
absolutely
I saw him
pull
into it.
off Desperado.
I do say that
No.
like they do definitely have their own strengths, but they're like one thing specifically, like John Leguizamo with his one man shows, they're so incredible. I think that
So
makes
great.
what makes him so unique as an actor. And yeah, I'm happy. I was happy as shit to see him in like not one but two great movies last year. Two
The Menu
successful
was so
movies.
great.
The Menu
Yes.
and what was it? The Christmas movie?
Violent Night. What the
Violent
funniest
Night,
damn
yeah.
movie of the year.
Yeah, so good. But let's talk about something else hilarious about this movie.
I got one more before we go there.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Blake, here's why he could play L. The Land of the Dead. He was such a dark, no humor character in that. I think that if he played that role, if he did that, if he embodied that role in Desperado, I think he could pull it off.
That has been one blind spot for me. I haven't seen Land of the
I
Dead.
love this. I love that I created the video. I love it.
Also,
Softness
I think
is-
we should point out with Leguizamo in this movie, dude committed so much. That scene with the pizza and the worm, he actually ate those fucking worms.
Right, twice.
Ooh.
Yeah, he
Gross.
puked right after.
He said, yeah, twice.
But he committed that much to this fucking role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just love it because I didn't know if anybody was going to disagree with me. I was hoping that nobody disagreed. I mean, nobody agreed with me. But, I mean, I do honestly feel that way, though. I do honestly feel.
I mean, I think it's comparing apples to oranges at that point because they both do two entirely different things.
And they're
with their
both delicious.
careers. Mm.
No, I do have to agree with Blake. It's like comparing apples with naranjas.
I think it's more like comparing bananas to plátanos. That's what
That's a great one. That's great.
All right, but Alex, I cut you off. You're talking about a hilarious part of the movie.
No, yeah. Actually, Jeff,
Oh,
I'll let
Evo's
you answer
hilarious.
this. Well, actually, this is starting out the hilarity. This gives you the taste at the beginning when Al first dies and he goes to hell, or when he's recollecting going to hell. We get this great scene, which gives us an idea of the ambition of the CGI. What did you think of like the special effects when like of hell and just the special effects overall in this
great.
movie, Jeff?
And then we do this.
So it's exactly what Bill said. When it's zoomed in on him, it's fucking disturbing and good. And then it zooms out. It's like, oh, this is a joke. Got it. And I get that's not what they're trying to do, but like okay, even just one of their when I was reading the trivia, one of their actual choices for this. Every time Malbogia speaks, he never moves his mouth, and that's because they wanted it to be he was speaking through hell in general, which
Right,
didn't come off at all. It just seemed like they made the shittiest anime. At least if he's speaking through hell, like have the volume come in and out from the two different sides. But no, it's just and then he gives an entire diatribe,
Yeah, it
Should've
just makes
just made his just make the background the fiery background, and then put some slitted eyes in there, and like make it a little face or something.
Their original idea was they were going to have an all black room and have Al in there. And as the movie got closer to release, they're like, oh God, we can't do this. And they're like, let's do some fire and brimstone type action.
So
At
that's
least
even
throw in an
worse.
animatronic and not a CGI, because don't get me wrong, I think CGI can be good and fun. The cape was great. I mean, I had a lot of fun with the cape. I had a lot of fun with the chains, but like something as big as that you can focus on so much, an animatronic works just as well as we saw in the Violator fight scene, and you can still throw the CGI around it to spruce it up a bit,
Right.
Yeah, and we gotta give a shout out to the voice of the devil, Frank Welker. I was trying to find something else what else he had been in because okay, here it is because he's a big voice actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. He was like Apu in Aladdin, and he played the voice of the Cave of Wonders in Aladdin. But he was also the voice of Toka and Razor in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Which we
That's
just
a secret
wrote
of the
down.
ooze.
Yeah, I was like, I know I've seen this name before.
Check out that video. Go check out the Does It Hold Up? Secret of the Ooze. Does it hold up?
And find out if it holds up. It
Well,
does.
I do want to before we move on because like you said, it was an all black room that they originally wanted to do it in, huh?
Yeah.
And then they decided they didn't want to go with that.
Yeah.
I think we know the reason why.
What did I say about all black?
They're not a fan of rugby teams? Weirdest rugby name ever, by the way.
What?
There's a rugby team in New Zealand whose literal name is the All Blacks.
I love it.
Right? But when you go outside,
white?
No. Wait. Hang on.
Because if they're white, I don't know how to feel about it, but
I think that's New Zealand. Yeah. I didn't see a lot of black hobbits, is all I'm saying.
Right.
In New Zealand.
They're not all white, but they're very white. And they do a haka to start the game or match or whatever it's called.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Very traditional.
Right?
So they just wear all black. I guess that's the way they get away with that.
Let's so Spawn, fun movie. But yes.
I wanted to say just really quick, just to give a quick shout out to Teresa Randall, who plays Wanda. She was like a 90s all-star. She was like in so much stuff in the 90s. And
so
I thought she was really good in this. And yeah, she's beautiful.
She was a real MVP.
But yeah, for whatever reason, we never saw her in a whole bunch of stuff.
Real quick, I want to get Blake and Jeff's MVPs for the movie. Blake,
I told you it's John Leguizamo, and this was a movie that introduced me to Michael J. White, and then I got really into him. Like I started like reading like magazine articles because like there was all kind of like kids magazines, and like he was doing martial art poses and stuff, and I'm like, this guy's really cool. And then I see him in Exit Wounds doing real martial arts many years later, and I'm like, that's fun. Like, oh my goodness. And then I see him in what's the movie? The Undisputed 2, and Bone.
Right,
Never
yeah.
seen that. It's got Kimbo Slice. But yeah, so this made me a fan of Michael J. White, and for the best of reasons. Like it makes me sad talking about it now because his career should have been so much more. Like there's so much that Hollywood could have done with this guy, and they chose not to. So it makes me really sad because they're like, dang, like he set off like a trend of like not only like dark comic books being adapted to film, but also like pushing like the narrative of like having black people leading the charge for he was in Dark Knight, leading the charge for being lead roles in comic book, like serious comic book. Like Meteor Man is great and all, and Blank Man came out before this, but like this was like dark and like serious, and it took itself serious, and it was like very just like gritty and action. And a year later we get Blade. Like I don't think that's like I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
So I feel like this really set a trend for that. So those two for me, big all stars.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, sorry,
Jeff, you're MVP.
Oh, so, okay. I'd say the MVPs in this movie were, I'd say Martin Sheen, D.B. Sweeney, and Melinda Clark. Really, all the white actors were the MVPs. No, but serious. No, it's
like,
clearly,
but seriously, Martin Sheen. He's like, but seriously, Martin Sheen. He's great.
No, but I think it's. I actually don't think there's a debate. I think it is John Leguizamo and Michael J. White, and it's for the same reasons Blake said. It's also, I mean, like, just the fact that both of them to play their roles had to commit so much. They said Leguizamo had 1 to 2 hours of prosthetics, Michael J. White 2 to 4. every day of shooting. And then they were good in their roles. They committed to their roles, and they were what brought the movie alive.
Yeah.
Also, Blake, I will agree with you that I think Michael J. White absolutely deserved a better presence in Hollywood. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what's the martial arts movie? The Never Back Down?
Yeah.
Was Michael J. White the star of the sequels?
I think he was in the second one. I didn't watch the second one because the first one was so great.
The second one was great because of Michael J. White.
You know,
and then
those are all his movies. Like,
I didn't know that. He was also up for Blade, but took Spawn instead. And I wonder what difference that would have. Which is funny because Wesley Snipes was also up for Spawn, but took Blade instead.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that makes all the sense in the world because, like, I'm sure there weren't a whole lot of black leading actors that they were trying to put in big movies and martial artists, and there also weren't a whole bunch of black leading movies that they were trying to make at the time. So
Will Smith at one point was up for Spawn, and I think we can all agree, no, he does not fit that.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been right for either of those.
No, he took Men in Black, which does make sense. But no, I wonder how Michael J. White's career would have been different if he was Blade. You know?
Yeah, I don't know if that would have been a good fit. I think they both made the right decisions. I don't think Wesley makes a good Spawn, and I don't think Michael makes a good Blade. So I think they did pick the right role.
Yeah.
I would like to see Michael in Blade, but I agree with you. Wesley should not have been Spawn.
And Wesley's just perfect. Like, I know Michael J. White's a great martial artist, but Wesley is.
Yeah, Wesley was really, really great as Blade, and Michael J. White, like he did end up Black Dynamite is probably my favorite thing he's ever done.
Oh my gosh, that movie was so great.
It's so incredible, and it shows off how funny he is, how good of an actor he is, and also just how great of a martial artist he is.
We love you, Michael J. White.
We love you, Mike. But I didn't love him in this movie. I didn't love his performance that much. I think
tell me more,
obviously,
Alex. Tell me more about how you don't like black people as leading actors. Tell me more.
Tell me you don't like black people without.
Like, this is getting awkward. I don't know if we can stay on this channel.
I don't know if I can be
first of all, I'm a Republican. No, but no, I didn't really, the prosthetics definitely had a lot to do with it, not being able to see his full performance when he's in the makeup. But also I didn't really like how put on his voice was. There are moments when he's in the makeup and he doesn't put on the voice. Like, I think where's the line he calls old white dude Yoda, and he doesn't have the voice there. I was like, oh, I believed that line, but every other line, like, it's very put on gruffness. Like, he sounds like he's trying to sound like the devil.
Like, touch her, you're a dead man.
Yeah, that was weird.
But so for me, Johnny Legs is my MVP.
Christian Bale did it for Batman. I was like,
yeah.
Wanda.
All right, can we get to like questions? Okay, no, but you got to do your MVP. After MVP, I've got questions about this movie.
Oh yes.
Do your MVP, Bill.
With your questions, my MVP is John Leguizamo. His MVP is John Leguizamo. You go ahead with your questions.
I was watching this movie, and I had a serious question when I realized, like, because I've seen this movie so many times. And like the scene where he goes to the A6 headquarters and he goes and steals guns. And then I remembered, I'm like, oh yeah, he's got that whole little like shed full of weapons and guns and ammo. Yeah. And then I'm like, wait a minute, Blake, you know things. Wait a minute. How is he able to take all those guns that he's got in that little shed in one fell swoop? Like, did he bring a briefcase with him? Did he go multiple times? Does the cape turn into like a suitcase? Like, I have questions, and they don't give me answers.
One of the things that's brought up in the comics that they didn't keep in this is that Al is a master juggler.
He's also a magician, and that explains everything.
That scene did end up on the cutting room floor, him juggling a bunch of stuff. He's like, oh, I'm gonna have to come back on another trip for all this stuff.
Has the ability. Spawn has the ability to like put things away, like in his cape. Though I do think that is an ability.
I will say,
But he doesn't know that at that point.
Well, it's like the old man said, it reacts on instinct. Right?
Okay.
So
So it's instinct.
Like, all those weapons just went into the
butt.
Yeah.
Where that butt at? Like,
He thinks he's just keystering all of it.
Yes. It'd be a mighty exercise. But yeah, I had a real question on that scene. I'm like, because they only talk about him breaking into it once, and then he opens that shed, and there's so much in there. There's so many things. And it's not like I was trying to do the math. I was like, it's not enough where he could just like put on like a couple of like what do they call them? Like
bandoliers.
Is that what they call it? The bandoliers across him. I'm like, he could only carry so many of those. And how fast is he walking? And wait a minute, does the weight of him, the suction cupping, does that hold up if he's climbing against the wall? I don't understand. The math doesn't match,
I've got to assume he stole a car. That's the only, because he doesn't know he can fly yet. He doesn't know he can do all that shit.
I just had the visual.
I would
Spawn
assume
in the
he
car
snuck in there,
and
then he stole like one of the trucks or some shit.
Not gonna lie, I would pay money, like $25 full price, $28 4DX to see the whole movie again with just the scene added of him walking down the street with like just dropping all
or you just see him in the car with two wires, like, God damn it.
Trying to get
fucking work.
I would love to see a scene like that. But then he doesn't like Deadpool, they made fun of this. He just doesn't end up really using those guns for real. He's like, oh well, I don't really need these anymore. Here you go.
Which is dumb. Let's talk about that. Well, actually, I'll talk about that in a second. But just to like address like Blake's question about like how do you grab all that stuff? I think it is somewhat because of the ambiguity of his powers, because it seems like the guy can do anything the plot needs him to do, including turn into a wall at some point. So maybe
he goes
chameleon.
Yeah, he just adds another addition to the wall, and that's it. So maybe he uses his cape to
makes the wall more full.
Yes, it adds to the architecture,
Well, the best part about that is that like they're like, all right, here's Blade, here's Spawn, here's the light, and right when the light's right here, he lets go of the cape, and they're like, well, still can't see him. It's like they're right there, man.
Yeah, it's a funny trope in movies where like nobody has peripheral vision. Everybody looks exactly where the spotlight is.
Another question. This is just more of a cinema question, more or less than it is a Spawn question. Like when you're up on a balcony like that or a banister like that, are buildings just built terribly? Why does every time you see somebody walking on it just breaks? It just
falls.
You're supposed to believe that these buildings are structurally sound.
I think you actually got it. I think yes, buildings are built terribly for people to walk on decoration.
Right?
That's not
yeah.
meant to be something people walk on. That's just meant to look nice.
It doesn't build a building so you can walk out on the
Somebody might need to escape the cops. We might need to make this more.
Why you build something that looks like I could walk on it if I can't walk on it? Don't build a bridge and tell me I can't drive on the bridge and be like, bridge. No, bro. You're gonna make something that looks like I can do something on it, then I want to do the thing that it looks like I can do on it.
Exactly.
Don't give me options if I can't. Yeah, it's funny because just talking about the powers earlier, talking about the guns. Sorry. At some point where he's talking to the old dude and he's giving him
Cagliostro?
Cagliostro?
Yeah, Cagliostro, who was played by I just had it here. Nicole Williamson.
He's got a girl's name.
He got a lady name. His name is for ladies. But there's some point where him and Al were talking, and he's telling Al, how powerful the suit is, and it's more powerful than the guns. But then he also says, there's only so much power that you can use. Like there's a limit of you just use the powers all the time.
Forever and ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because of comic books.
But then that's when Al gives him the guns. He's like, "Oh, I won't be needing these." He's like, "Oh, you're starting to get it." It's like, "Nah, you're not actually. You just told you that you're gonna run out of power in your suit, so you're probably gonna need these guns. Don't give up the guns. You still need the guns."
I also want to talk about this scene because like Spawn breaks a bottle and then he's ready for war. Like, no, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Give me more training. Give me more training.
Also, like, even if we're to believe that was all the training Spawn needed, I like how most movies, like the learning, the battle tip montage is like, all right, this is taking a couple days, maybe a week. This like whole training montage is less than one full night. Like, what the shit?
Yeah, you could have made a montage. I was just thinking that before you said it. Like, it should have been a montage moment.
Right?
Very simple. It could have felt like 10 seconds. Could have felt like 28
Yeah.
seconds. Right there, and we can get it out of the way.
Well, that's
When
one of the failings of the
to Earth. It's like a day and a half. That's it.
Yeah, and it's one of the failings of the script because like it sets up this ticking time bomb with like Wanda's kidnapped, and what's his name's got the virus bomb in his heart. Jason Wynn, played by the impeccable Uncle Ben. And yeah, like it's just they wrote themselves into like to steal a line from producer Terry from NineNerdYards. It's like they wrote themselves into a wall and then they just like burst through that wall. Like fuck it,
Hulk smash.
And also too, I'll say this for the script too. Like, I think this was a sort of the time. Like, so people who weren't born before 2000 won't remember any of this, but with 2000, they won't remember any of what I'm going to say. But before 2000, everything seemed very like, at least culturally and maybe even religiously too, like 2000, like it might be the end of the world, and like there was
Y2K,
end of the Y2K, and there was a whole bunch of like end of the world movies and like movies to do with like the devil and like end of days.
Yeah, end of days.
Movie.
Yeah.
So like Bless the Child, right, with Kim Basinger. Like there was all these like devil movies about like this apocalyptic thing that could or could not happen, and it has to do with religion. So like, and it has to do with the devil and God, and like, so for this to come out in 97, a couple of years before 2000, like it felt very like of the times to be like, oh, this is a discussion in like pop culture.
Oh yeah.
Like, is the end of the world gonna happen? And is it gonna happen with some sort of evil billionaire conglomerate type person? Probably, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, they were only off like 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what did you get, like just like real quick, like Jeff, I'll start with you. What did you think of the plot of like the villain, with Martin Sheen and his plans, and how sort of like the clown was manipulating him? Do you think that part of the story was still interesting?
I didn't get it because best case scenario, when Jason's character is like, oh man, I'm gonna destroy the world, and that's like, but then what? You're not gonna have your money anymore. Like, then you're clearly going to hell. Like, at the end of the world, what do you think is like the good rewards you get?
I'm going to rule it.
Like at least if like it was a bit more thought out, it would have been like, because the thing is, like, it seems like the entire time he knows he's working towards the end of the world, as opposed to I can ransom the world because I have this weapon.
Right.
Yeah, that's a better game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that makes more sense, and it's easier for us to grab onto because, well, humans are greedy as shit.
And he seems more like
just stupid. Reason. I mean, who's taking advice from a blue tattooed white
ICP motherfucker?
ICP midget fat devil dude. Like, why are we doing this? I'm thinking, when I see that guy, I'm thinking he might be a demon. Yeah, he might be a demon.
That totally tracks.
Totally makes sense.
Oh, another thing we skated over with Johnny. He had to crouch down the entire movie to be in that suit. Can you imagine how uncomfortable just that is?
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
he's a breakout
Yeah,
star.
like
Back to the question.
He the real
No,
MVP.
yeah.
He the real MVP. Actually, I think I'm gonna change my MVP from John Leguizamo, or I'm gonna add one other than John Leguizamo. Because ain't nobody said
dog
about him this entire movie. That's right, Spaz.
Fucking right.
We ain't said nothing about him this whole
wait,
show.
who was Spaz again?
Who
Oh,
was
the dog.
Spaz?
Oh yeah, the fucking dog.
Who was Spaz? Spaz was amazing, man. That dog twice.
Yeah, he did. I'm very surprised that like every time there were a couple of times where I was like, "Oh, does the dog die?" I don't remember the dog dying, but the dog does die, right? Because it's kind of left ambiguous. Like they show the collar.
They bring him home. The little homeless kid.
Oh
brings him to
yeah,
the
that's
home.
right.
Yeah, little boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. Follows him back to Wanda's house.
That's
Yeah.
where he's from. Yeah,
that's where he's from.
Kindergarten cop,
kid.
It's like, yo, I've seen this little brat before.
Yeah,
you sure have.
Yeah, yeah, that whole story with Martin Sheen, like, yeah, like you have to just believe that he's an idiot for any of it to really play. Or and also like, yeah, like you said, the characteristics don't really match up where he seems like this greedy, money hungry guy, but his actions make it seem like he's this malicious guy who wants to destroy everything, like scorch the earth. But it's like, which one are you? Do you want to rule everything or do you want to destroy everything?
The writers are like, yes. The answer is yes.
The writers are like, yeah. Oh, it's gonna be real good.
But it all culminates into like this.
Just caught that.
Todd McFarlane. You know, and it's funny. Like we've talked a little bit about the animated series. Did you guys watch the animated series Spawn?
I watched an episode right before this, and I was like, I have some feelings about this. Like, not
Did
bad,
you watch
but
the first episode?
I watched the first episode.
Oh, that's a heavy episode.
It was
heavy, dude. I mean, the whole show is heavy.
But I mean, most animated shows don't start with a serial rapist and a child killer.
Yeah, it's the.
No, Blake, go ahead and let Blake.
I don't know if I've gotten to that point yet. But
was that
I don't know. That doesn't seem right. The first episode was like this reporter. They seem like the reporter's meeting somebody, and then they get capped in the alleyway. And then Spawn is like sort of spawns out of nowhere. Also, too, the fact he has it's a mask in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has a mask. That made me enjoy the movie even more. I'm like, oh, his mask is part of the armor that kind of just goes over him, like very like nanotechnology. Like, I like this. And two, also on HBO, if you watch on HBO, the first episode, I don't know if it's the rest of them because I've only seen the first one. Todd McFarlane like starts off and gives a little intro.
About, that's all of them.
Let me tell you something.
Okay,
that will get old because for every episode.
Like you mentioned the mask. I don't know if you caught this. The chain in the cartoon and the comics is not part of the suit at all either.
Right.
It's literally just he grabs the chain and starts beating the shit out of people with it.
Yeah, it seemed like it was floating. It seemed like it was floating at one point.
But it's not. It's not like.
I think they added some chains after this movie came out. Like I think they may have added chains
because the cartoon came out the same year, just a couple months earlier than the movie.
Right.
Yeah. Like the chains and the cape. Oof, man. This very, very.
I like the chains edition.
I like them both.
Mean, I like the idea of it, but yeah, it's just like watching it today. It's just bad. It just doesn't look good to me.
It looked fine to me. That was not one of the things that I had an issue, and I had a lot of issues, but that was not one of the things that I had.
Well, yeah, I think I do know one part that you did have an issue with.
Alex, is it that they didn't look good because of the CGI of it, or they didn't look good because like it's just a stupid idea?
Oh no!
If they updated it with modern graphics, what would you think?
No, yeah, I think it would look good with modern graphics. Like I think it would be pretty rad, and I even like the idea, like the final scene, the way he cuts off Violator's head was pretty cool. But yeah, just the CGI of it was just
a dope scene.
Oh yeah,
I was done with the CGI in this movie until that one scene. And like they cleaned up that hell battle with man. That hell battle was really bad.
Oh my god! Well, even just the scene right before that, where Violator's coming out of the wall, looks terrible.
So yeah,
this is amazing.
I was And also, how the hell does Violator come back from being exploded? I don't understand things, but you chop off his head and he's fine. He's still fine.
Yeah.
But he's incapacitated. I don't get it. They have a lot of rules.
He's a demon. He can't be like dead. He just goes back to hell.
Right. Go back to work.
Don't you know demonology, bro? You be stay. I got you got this up on this,
I'll lend you a book.
Y'all can lend me a book. It better be about 8
Demonology.
pages.
I got a question for the group as well. Though.
Yeah.
The scene where he's at the ball and he's fighting Priest or whatever her name is. After his codpiece bites her in the leg when she tries to kick him in the dick, she looks at him and goes, go ahead. You don't have the guts. He's a professional assassin. Why would you think he doesn't have the guts to shoot you in the face?
Right.
And that was before he went to hell and came back.
That's the wrong time for reverse psychology. When reverse psychology goes wrong, like, I bet you won't do it. And he's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
You shot me last time I saw you. You shot me in my kneecaps.
Right?
Oh, I'm definitely going to shoot you.
And then you let your gun green splooge all over me.
Like,
Right.
Yeah, I don't have the guts because you set me on fire and made me go boom inside of a fucking warehouse, man.
Yeah, like
some of the things they say to him are like, what?
yeah, everybody in this movie is an idiot, and I think that's what, even including Al,
Yeah,
like,
Al's silly.
because at some point at the beginning of the movie where like he wants to quit, and Martin Sheen's like, "Oh, you can't just quit us." But well, maybe I'll let you quit. Just go on this one last mission. It's like, no, dude, they're gonna fucking kill you. Why would you go? But yeah, we could probably talk about this movie for 4 more hours. But
Let's do it.
We could probably talk time. We probably could, and now we're going to. No, but I guess this is about that time where we ask the titular question: Does it hold? So I guess. Oh, sorry, I just coughed right on you. I apologize. Didn't mean to cough right in your face.
Way to violator that shit. Oh.
At the end of every episode, we ask, we take a vote on whether the film stands the test of time or not. It is always the guest's pleasure to go first. We'll
mostly because we probably don't know what we're gonna say. So,
Jeff, we will start with you. We'll ask you the titular question: Does it hold?
All right, I don't know how this is going to be taken. So let me start by just cheers. Thank you, Banthas.
cheers.
Oh, cheers.
I don't have a drink.
I say this holds up, which is interesting because back when it came out, it didn't. This holds up because I think this holds up because it's not good. And I enjoy laughing at it more than enjoying it. It's like all those B horror movies that I love. That's like, it's like the first Evil Dead. It's not scary, but it's so bad it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'm sensing some very Jeepers Creepers vibes.
Right?
Hey, I imagine Jeepers Creepers is right next to your Surf Ninjas DVD. On your...
How dare you? That's in the J section. Surf Ninjas is in the S section.
Well, that's some sort of animal who doesn't alphabetize his DVD.
There's too many.
Blake, I guess it's time to ask you the question: Does it hold? Flawless every time.
We're just getting better and better at that, aren't we? This movie does hold up, but not because it's good. I'll say that. I like that Jeff said that. It holds up, but not because it's a good movie, and not because I would I would go running around the streets and be like, "Oh my goodness, have you guys read the good word about Spawn?" I'm not preaching the gospel on it, but it's a fun background movie. It's over the two that we broke down, or the many that we broke down, but like this and Ninja Turtles I'll put this on over Ninja Turtles.
How
Okay.
fucking dare you?
Wait for
Secret
the
of the
episode to
Ooze.
come out. Wait
Secret
for
of the
Wait
Ooze.
for the episode to come out. Secret of the Ooze, yes.
To be
Now that
Jeff
the white
left.
guy's gone, us minorities can talk all about. Oh, he's back! He's back! Oh my god!
Oh man.
But yeah, it's a fun. It's just like a fun, like mindless sort of like late '90s, action movie. Like if you look at it and be like, I don't know anything about the comics. It's just a like fun action movie with dated CGI and a fun dated soundtrack. Like it's a fun dated. It's not like you hear it and you're like, I don't like that. It's like, oh, this is so '90s, and it's because like the people that did the soundtrack did like many other like '90s movies as well. So like,
That's two of my notes.
oh,
The opening theme song is just like, wow, this is like every like Blade. It's like every
It's
'90s
so
movie
long.
opening scene. And two,
song.
I mean, how many Manson songs are in this fucking movie?
Yeah. Yeah,
You
he was
have
the
fire
go-to
and-
hell song guy.
yeah, I was gonna say you have Hellfire and Brimstone. You need a Marilyn Manson song. If not, like
Or
you're doing
gotta
it
have
wrong.
him or Rob Zombie. That's a
Yeah.
that's a rule.
So yeah, it definitely it holds up, but like it's if I gave Ninja Turtles like a 49% does not hold up, which
Mhm.
I guess I'm giving this out, everybody go watch that to find out everybody else's thoughts on that movie. If I gave that a 49%, I'm gonna give this like a 51, 52%. It holds up. Again, not because it's a great movie, not because it's fantastic, but like watch John Leguizamo go be a devil clown. It's fun.
It is fun.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Well, that leaves only one thing left to do here, and that's ask the question.
Does it
Does it
hold
hold
up?
up?
I don't think it holds up. I after like especially after our discussion, like I felt like the Mortal Kombat is one of those movies like I feel like you guys do, where it's a nice background movie and it's like got 90s nostalgia to it, and it's kind of fun how 90s it is. But this one, it was just so disappointingly bad. The writing is so bad, the animation, the CGI is so bad, and just so many wasted opportunities with this kind of character, which is a lot more cerebral than this crazy movie kind of gives it credit for.
So you just described Quantum Mania.
I guess.
You just described Quantum Mania right now. That's funny.
Okay. But I guess the question for you is, does it hold up?
Well,
Hit them notes.
ladies and gentlemen, I won't keep you too long. Well, first of all,
Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
40
minutes
That's
later.
how you know somebody's gonna start taking a long time to say something.
Yeah.
Bill, that's how I start every sentence.
I'll hold y'all too long, but I am not. No, this movie holds up. It's unfortunate, but that doesn't speak to the nature of this movie. It speaks to the nature of Hollywood. Like everything Alex just said that was bad about the movie doesn't mean it couldn't come out today and be a blockbuster hit, unfortunately. So the criteria of this show, unfortunately, is not about whether I like the movie or if the movie was good. It's about does it hold up? And this one does. You go watch it with your kids, especially the ones 7 and younger.
Don't do that. Don't
Preferably
do that.
right before bedtime.
Take all the advice they give you, people.
Show your kid, and then go ahead and schedule yourself some therapy because they are gonna need it.
Show your kid right before they go spend the week with grandma and grandpa.
Right.
It's like shaking up a soda can and giving it to your enemy.
Yeah, also feed them sodas. Cans. Feed them sodas in cans.
Yes.
Feed them that as well before you send them to your parents.
Sour Patch Kids and Mr. Pibb.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And then send them with the DVD of Blade so all of them can watch that together.
You want me to grab that one?
Oh man, 7-year-old me, like that would have been a dream. Like hearing all that just makes me sick. Like, I don't want any of that in my stomach. But before we get out of here, guys, well, Blake, I'll let you start. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at NineNerdYards. We're breaking down shows every week. Tuesday, we're breaking down Ultimate Fighter with a fighter who's on the show, Kurt Hollabaugh. Wednesday, we're breaking down The Idol, and on Thursdays, we are breaking down Secret Invasion. So until The Idol ends, and then we're moving that to Wednesday. I feel like I say that I say that loud, and then I'm like, just follow the channel, and then you'll see what we do when we do that. It seems overly complicated, like the plot of this movie. Like they try to overly complicate it, and like just stop it, just stop it. So yeah, just follow me. 9NerdYards, Money Blake Weather, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat as well, and to stay tuned with what we're doing.
Yeah, go to the NineNerdYards channel and hit that subscribe button. Then YouTube will let the content come to you. That's just how it works. Jeff, where can the people find you?
You can try and find me on Facebook, Jeff Madel. You can try and find me on Instagram at MadelJeff. You can try and Skype Don Cheadle's driveway at littledickie2.com because of the hackers. And if you don't get that joke, you can go to 9NerdYards YouTube and understand why it's funny.
Yeah, guys, go to the NineNerdYards channel. Go and watch every one of their videos so you can catch up on all these sweet inside jokes. And you can laugh along with us.
Hit the subscribe button. Hit our subscribe button. Damn, quit being stingy. It's free. It's free. It costs you nothing, and it helps us out a lot.
Yeah, it costs you nothing. You remember, like a couple of weeks ago when you were going through your the videos, the channels that you're subscribed to, and then you found one. You were like, I don't even remember subscribing to that shit.
Remember that shit?
Let that be us. Just subscribe to us, and then forget about it.
Don't have to. Yeah, please watch, but even if you don't, just subscribe.
Just subscribe. Just have it on in the background.
Then when you remember, go and throw a few likes on just like 1 or 2 videos.
Yeah, just like when you're not doing anything, just like something. Leave a comment.
YouTube playing when you go to the bathroom. Just
yeah. Let us be your spawn. Put us on in the background and just have us.
That's how you do it.
But thank you guys for watching the show. New episodes drop every other Monday at 4:20 a.m. Check us out on social media platforms at The Drunk Banthas. Please like and subscribe. It is not required, but if you don't, you will not be invited to the cookout. We will see you guys next time, and may the force be with you.